Global application navigation is the navigation elements, the stationary navigation elements within an application that allow the individual to navigate through the application. We're going to go through a few quick examples of application navigation, both bottom navigation, side navigation, and floating navigation. And we're going to talk about how you can use navigation in very interesting ways with the iPhone. So first off, let's talk about what this is not. This has nothing to do with GPS and has nothing to do with the GPS navigation programs that some folks are used to. So let's clear that off the deck. What we are talking about is making it so your user knows the best way to find what there is within the application. So let's take a look right now at a bottom application for an application here, and let's see. As you can see, we have here an image of an application that uses a few different types of navigation. We have the home, we have actually a weather function and a radio function, and we have an area for more information. So this application, which is using a bottom navigation here, is using stationary common elements that some things you can use that are different, but you want to make these elements very simplistic. And one thing to please keep in mind: when you're doing your building, you're going to be dealing with multiple languages across the world. And it is sometimes good to use images to represent what you need done, and these should be common images that would be understood. So if you put like a picture of a home for going home, that makes sense. If you put a picture of a fish for going home, it might not really catch on right away. You want to absolutely test out your navigation, and that would be something called usability testing. Now what you can do is you can basically get specific phones with the user IDs on the phones and have the designers send the application to those phones for testing. Because there really is no other way for you to test out the application other than sending it to directed phones, because these are going to be released through the iPhone store, and there are certain controls put on distribution from that. Okay, so that is your bottom navigation, and it shows you a little bit about what you can do and design with that. Let's take a look at some side navigation here. Now, in this application, they have used a side element, and again, you can do things such as get weather, and you can get radio and a flashlight, and various different elements. Now, again, you don't have to have your navigation on the bottom. You do not even have to have navigation. It could be a simple application without navigation at all, but this is just another way to place navigation within an app. Now, let's talk about using something as floating navigation. This is very interesting, and if you look at an application that is using GPS plus pictures, they may be using the actual elements within those items as navigational items, such as a program as Layers does. So you would click on the actual images themselves as they appear on the screen, and that would be a navigation element. So there are many different ways you can form navigation. You do not have to stick with the common bottom navigation. You could have a creative type of element, a circle, and have the different points within that that'll take somebody through the app. But what you should keep in mind is you do want to keep these things fairly obvious and understood and universal. One thing you definitely want to include in your applications is some sort of how-to instructions on how to use the application. If you're dealing with something that requires a setup, what I suggest is that you navigate them through the setup upon entering the application for the first time. So design the application so that it'll step them through, enter your name, enter your address, enter your information that is required to operate the application, and then the application will take off. Don't count on them to find the setup button and go into the actual items. You can have it designed so that it will first make them fill out the information before the application is fully usable. And I suggest that if your application depends upon that information. So that's it today for global application navigation. Please do, as always, send me your questions and your comments. If you have ideas for navigation elements that you'd like to see in an application, please send them in. Send them into the email address below here, and that is tmurphy@optimizedapps.com.